Obviously, field trips are one of those things that we can look at, and certainly it's incumbent upon an administrator to determine which of these trips are actually mandatory or necessary or even educational, and which of them are simply something that somebody wants to do. It's hard to determine that. I think Mr. Arrington has another great idea there where he talks about virtual field trips. The internet is a wonderful tool if it's used correctly. And there are those places, for instance, Southern Utah University, we used to run down there once a year to go through the Shakespearean Festival setup. It was a great field trip. But there are those people at Southern Utah University who would jump at the chance to come up and present that to a classroom full of students, or even as an assembly for an entire school. So there are opportunities to do field trips without actually going on them, and thereby, save that money for things that are mandatory. Certainly there are things that you don't want to cut out. There are those things that, as I say, the administrator needs to make decisions upon. School board members should be involved in that process as well. So it's a hard decision. We live in a tough time. Money's tight. So we have to determine what is best for all of the students and for the monetary needs of each school.
I think it's a good question to follow up the last question we had, because with the class sizes growing and the need for the budget cuts and those kinds of things, we have to look at how we get back to basics. And as sad as it sounds to cut field trips, that's one of the first things you would have to look at, I think, to say how educational are they for our kids, and can they get that same educational opportunity somewhere else? The fact that we have technology at our fingertips and can do so many things over the internet and with virtual learning, that I think we would have to look at that and say, can we bring these same opportunities to the school, which we probably can. Back to basics, meaning we have to cut those things that aren't basic. What is it that we're supposed to be providing our kids? Are we supposed to be providing them fun trips to different places and see the sights, or are we supposed to be providing them reading, writing, math, science, those kinds of things? And we can teach those in the classroom and then bring in the opportunities as much as the budget allows. But we have to keep to the basics and say, we keep the basics and then cut back down to that. We can't cut at the basics and say, well, we want to keep this because it's fun, or because my child enjoys it, or it's a reward. We have to stick with the basics, and I think that's an approach that we'd have to take as a school board.
It's our responsibility as board members to get the biggest bang for the buck. So if you can't, field trips, yeah, they need to be looked at on an individual basis. Sometimes you need to go on a field trip, but in trying to give that dollar to every one of those children, maybe you bring the field trip to the school. That's just things that need to be looked at on an individual basis. But it's our responsibility to give everybody an opportunity and not just a limited few.
I have to tell you, my son went to the Maple Grove field trip this year, and he had a blast. He learned all about bugs and trees and fish and everything that you can imagine as far as biology is concerned. And I think back to my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Boyce, who's really gave me a passion for biology and for science. And I think of those experiences, and I think, don't want to cut out those field trips, because that's something that those kids will take with them. But we do have to look at the budget. The budget doesn't allow for a field trip. There are ways, just like all these gentlemen have talked about, that we can actually bring that to the school or get it online. My son also today said, I got to go to the computer lab. I'm a big advocate of technology. I feel like that's one way that those kids can learn and improve their skills tremendously. And they're fast. Those kids are quick. They learn things fast on the computer. So that's a wonderful thing. But I think that definitely we have to look at budgets first. We can't always say, well, this is a tradition that we've done for years. We really need to look at what's best for our school district, what's best for our teachers, and what's best for our kids, and how can they learn and improve in the areas that we need them to improve in. Thank you.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement. Money is money, and there's just so many dollars to go around. And I think we all agree that the most important thing that we can do for our students is to teach them in the classroom. There are wonderful experiences and field trips that we'd like to do. As parents, as you parents, there are lots of things you would like to do with your children. Some of them you can do, some of them you can hope to do, some of them you can just dream about. And what we have to do is we have to be realistic and get, as Mr. Haynes says, the bang for our buck. I think the district has done a wonderful job in trying to do that. We've eliminated a lot of things and haven't allowed extra travel or whatever. And if there's been a need, we've tried to address it and allow that happen. Many of you here have had third graders go through the experience at Gooseberry. That program had its 30th anniversary last year, continues to go. That is a field trip, but it's a wonderful educational opportunity. Some of those kinds of things, we need to find money to see that that continues. But as my mother used to always say, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And we just have to live within our budget and do the best we can. And I really feel like the district has done a wonderful job in trying to do that. Thank you.
I'm going to try something a little different. We've got just a few extra minutes before we do our closing. So I'm going to take from the candidate statements and ask each candidate a different question based on their own statement. We begin with Mr. Orr. Mr. Orr, you indicate that after family and faith, education is the most important element in a child's life. Attitudes towards its importance must change. What are you going to do to change attitudes about education? 30, you got 60 seconds.
I think the greatest thing that I think I can do as an individual to change attitudes in students is make sure that education is important to everybody. Parents are mandatory parts of this puzzle. If we can't put over to parents that the education of their children is an absolute necessity in this day and age, we are in serious trouble, because it is. Without an education, you end up nowhere. I see so many kids every year. They want to get out of school, they want to be on their own, they want to go do things, and they end up working in menial jobs, supporting the car, buying the insurance for it. They end up stuck in that job, supporting the car and insurance, and that's it. No education, no thought for what they really need. Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew, you indicate that parents' voice to promote the educational success of our children. You intend to integrate new ideas based on experiences outside the system. Can you give us one idea? In 60 seconds.
As I mentioned, I spent several years in Idaho while I went to school up there, and in that system there, because we were living on campus, the school district there had a lot of association with the college. They had university programs that would come into the schools and work with the kids, biology students coming in to discuss biology topics in the class, which would kind of alleviate some of the concern for the teachers. They could use those assets to help teach the class. And the university was just so integrated into the school. I think that's something we could look at doing, giving opportunities for not only our school district, but for the university to integrate. One of the other things that they did a really good job with was they had a program in place for gifted and talented children, so that we didn't have children in the classroom who were ahead in class or above board, and they were just sitting there doing nothing. And so I think that's another thing that we can try to integrate as well.
Mr. Hanson, you indicate that you have a strong belief in public education and a deep commitment to serving and educating all children. How will that commitment translate into better education?
Well, hopefully, my serving is an example of my commitment. I'm guilty of what Mr. Orr was talking about, of dropping out of school because I didn't have enough money saved up to finish an education, so I went to work and got used to making money and just never went back. But if we, as board members, can continue to support our local administration, continue to support the tremendous teachers that we have in making a great place for kids to get an education, hopefully that desire, our commitment to serve, will translate to a few more kids and not have to be tagged with a car payment.
Mr. Graff, you indicate that accountability is your basic platform. That which we measure will improve communication, increase communication, technology, improve the learning curve, a new vision, a new outlook. What new outlook do you bring?
Well, I come from, of course, I'm probably the only one that's, most everyone here has been almost a lifelong member of Ridgefield, or for a long time I've been a member of the Sevier Valley area. And that's the new outlook I bring. I grew up in southern Utah, so, I feel like this is still part of southern Utah, but I appreciate being able to live in such a wonderful valley. Our kids have an amazing future ahead of them if they understand what they can grasp and take hold of. We need to help them understand that education is not just graduating from high school, but they can go on further. And they can actually grab things in life that are not only in Ridgefield, but outside of Ridgefield, so that things aren't just another truck payment or car payment, that we can actually learn things that can help us anywhere we want to go in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nazer, you indicate that you want to help provide each child with the opportunity of obtaining the best possible education they can receive. Give us one thing that you intend to do in the next couple of years to make that a reality.
What I would like to do as a member of the board is to help support initiatives that have been implemented by the district that we've got right now. There's been some wonderful things that have happened over the last several years, and they continue to grow. And, we've had the Reading Initiative, which has been a wonderful program. We've had adaptive testing we're in the pilot program for the state of Utah. We just now started a new program for teacher intervention, which is a wonderful thing to help coach teachers to be better with their students. And I just would like to continue to be a part of that process, to support that, and to make sure that we continue with the world-class education that we really have here in this district. It's just amazing what an education our kids can get in Sevier County compared to the rest of the world. We really do have a great school system, and I'd like to continue to support that and see that moves forward. Thank you.
Mr. Arrington, you indicate that if you're elected, that you will work to promote what you call CAP, communicate, alleviate, and participate. What will you do to promote, communicate, alleviate, and participate?
Well, it's going to be tough in 60 seconds, but let's start with communicate. As I wander the district and talk to folks, one of the things that concerns me is that there's not enough communication between the school board and parents in the community. And we have so many wonderful tools at our fingertips in terms of email and email blasts and Facebook and those types of things that we can post. For example, an issue's coming up that the community might want to be involved in. We post that on the Facebook page. We get comments back. Gives us an opportunity as a school board to make decisions a little bit more based on what the community wants and is thinking about. Not sure I have time. It's going fast. Alleviate. Simply alleviating, hopefully, some of the problems that we have. We don't have a whole lot of problems, I don't think, but there are little things, and as I said earlier, it's not all about taking the whole elephant. It's about taking a piece at a time, and then just participating in the process.